a.m. briefing for Sunday, September 1st for Hurricane Dorian. With us today is County Manager George Rechtenwald, Emergency Management Director for Volusia County Jim Judge, Volusia County Chair Ed Kelly, and Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood. As a reminder, we want to let everybody know the latest information can always be found on Volusia County Emergency Management Facebook page, and our Citizen Information Center hotline phone number is 866-345-0345. First, I'd like to invite up County Manager George Rechtenwald.
Thank you. As we monitor Hurricane Dorian, the threat continues to increase for the east coast of Florida. We know the track has shifted slightly to the west, and that's closer to our coast. It's expected the storm will linger over the Bahamas until sometime tomorrow. This creates a lot more uncertainty into the forecast. When the storm begins moving again, we'll then have a little bit better idea of where the storm will go. So that being said, the storm is dangerously close to the coast and continues to increase in size and strength. It's one of the most powerful storms we've ever seen here in this area. Even the slightest shift west could make a world of difference for us. That's why it's so important that everyone continue to heed the warnings and be prepared. And that's why we're going to be taking the following protective measures. Tomorrow, we're going to open our shelters starting at 10 a.m. A list of shelters will be found at volusia.org. And tomorrow, we'll also be issuing a mandatory evacuation order at 10 a.m. This order will be for residents who live on the beach side and in the low-lying areas, RV and mobile home parks throughout the county. However, if you have a place to go, you don't have to wait till then to evacuate. But you should plan on being in place and where you're going to be riding out the storm by Monday night. We expect to have tropical storm force winds coming in on Tuesday, but you'll have gusts well before that. When shelters open, Votran will provide free transportation along regular service routes as well as to the shelters on Monday as long as weather permits. People who are unable to reach a bus stop due to physical limitations can call 386-322-5100 to arrange some transportation. With that, I'd like to invite Jim Judge to provide us with some more details on the storm.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. As Mr. Rechtenwald mentioned, Dorian has intensified to a Category 5 hurricane with winds of 180 miles an hour. And again, as mentioned, it's the largest recorded storm in the Bahamas area. And the one thing about this hurricane is that it has been consistently inconsistent. And that were the words from our meteorologist friends out of the National Weather Service. The forecast track, as mentioned, has shifted west over the past 12 hours. And again, the National Hurricane Weather words are, it is perilously close to the coast. So as we anticipate this meandering around the Bahamas, maybe for as long as 24 hours, and then picking up speed as it moves northwest toward the coast, and then potentially paralleling the coastline. Exactly how far offshore is still yet to be determined. A hurricane watch and storm surge watch has been issued for Brevard County all the way south to Martin County. We do anticipate Volusia County being added later today. The hurricane is forecast to slow and again meander around the Grand Bahama Island Monday and Monday night. We anticipate tropical storm force winds approximately early Tuesday afternoon. Again, timing still yet to be determined. And those tropical storm force winds could last 24 hours or even longer. We hope it's just category or tropical storm force winds. However, Tuesday morning, we do anticipate some really squally weather, some wind, some rain ahead of those tropical storm force winds. So I want to encourage everyone, with the shelters opening tomorrow at 10 a.m. Tomorrow's the day to really finalize everything, to hunker down ahead of the tropical storm force winds. Certainly those folks that are on the barrier island, mobile home, RV parks, we urge you to seek a safe location, whether it's in one of our hurricane shelters or with friends or family inland. Now's the time to make those decisions. We could have as high as 6-foot storm surge along the coast, wave action, potential tides on top of that, and 4 to 6 inches of rain is possible. But then also we do have 4 cycles of high tide during this time frame. So we still have time today, and then again through the day tomorrow. But by tomorrow evening, we would like to see everyone hunkered down and ready to weather the storm. And with that, if I could now turn it over to our chair, Mr. Ed Kelly.
Thank you, Jim, and I think all of you, like us, we've been watching this storm, I know, for at least the past 5 days, and I wish we could tell you exactly what's going to happen, could happen. The question is, we don't know what exactly is going to happen, but with a storm this size, what we do know that we're all going to be affected. Any shift, as you have heard, even a shift of a half a degree can affect us by 30, 40, or 50 miles closer to the coast. So we have to do what we're doing, and that is we're preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. Beginning tomorrow morning, the Emergency Operations Center and Citizens Information Center will be fully activated. The CIC will be open 24 hours a day and field questions. I know they were fielding them yesterday. I went in and the phones were busy. I'm sure they'll be even busier now. So if you need any information or have any questions so that you'll get the right answers, call 866-345-0345. And with this new timeline that we have some updates on the county closures. The beach is closed to vehicles as of today and at the close of business. Officials will fly the double red flag. For those of you who may not know what the double red flag means, it means no one in the water. That's for your safety, because the lifeguards will not be staffed there, so no activities will be allowed on the beach. And we're actually discouraging you from going to the beach during that time when the double red flags are flying. Coastal inlet parks will close at 5, remain closed for the duration of the storm. All other county parks will be closed beginning Tuesday. Libraries are closed tomorrow because of Labor Day and the holiday and will remain closed through the duration of the storm. The Volusia County landfill will be open for regular hours Monday and will close Tuesday. Daytona Beach International Airport will remain open for business Monday. Individuals with questions about their flight should contact their air carrier directly. Very important to remember, the airport is not a shelter. At this time, I'd like to welcome Sheriff Chetwood to share his thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As everybody has stated so clearly, I want to state the same thing. There still is a possibility that the hurricane could make landfall, and you have to keep that in your preparation plans. The second thing is you need to avoid hurricane fatigue. We've been hearing for weeks now about this hurricane. Well, now it's go time. Now it's time to get your plan ready and execute it. You need to be prepared. For those of you that are on the peninsula, there may be an evacuation order that's going to come down sometime by Tuesday morning, depending on the track of the storm. So you need to be prepared and take a good hard look. Do I need to evacuate? And if a mandatory order comes down, where am I going to go? Bridges, when the sustained wind speed reaches 39 miles an hour, the bridges will be closed. They'll reopen when FDOT, when the storm subsides and the wind speeds drop, does an inspection of the bridges. How and when that occurs is up to your local municipality. So you might want to reach out to your local municipality to find out, how do I re-enter onto the peninsula. There'll probably be a curfew put in place. That's something we're discussing now. Once the mandatory evacuations occur, and if we get hit like we are anticipating we're going to get hit, there's going to be a curfew. The purpose of the curfew is to keep you off the streets, to let public safety, to let the power companies, to let everybody do their job. And lastly, the purpose of a curfew is looting. And I cannot stress this enough. We are under the state of emergency. If you want to be a knucklehead and go out there and commit a burglary, you want to liberate your neighbors of their flat screen TV because they evacuated. If you want to burglarize a gun shop or a pawn shop, the penalties are enhanced. They are a felony of the first degree. And I am personally going to make sure that when you get arrested, that you spend time in a state prison. But again, in closing, heed the words that the county officials are telling you. This is a life-threatening storm. As Mr. Reckenwald stated, we have never seen a storm like this in our area. So you need to start thinking now and kick those plans into place. It's really important that we save lives here.
Okay, at this time, we'll open it up if you have any questions.
Do you have a fear that since we've been watching this storm for so long and that we're here in Volusia County, not necessarily in like a super big warning at this time, that people just aren't going to pay attention and aren't going to evacuate?
The question is, are we concerned about complacency?
I think the sheriff pointed it out, and I think Jim Judge also pointed it out, don't let this fatigue and the fact of a change. 24 hours ago, everyone was giddy. The storm had moved further away, had moved to the east. Don't let this be something that you take and say it can't move back to the west, which has made the shift. Be preparing for the worst case scenario. Be prepared that it could make landfall. Be prepared that it could hug the coast. That's what they announced. Melbourne announced that at the 11 o'clock or 11:30 weather advisory. It can come in and hug the coast and go up the entire coast, all the way maybe even to Jacksonville. Don't be complacent. Now, you can't emphasize that any more than we're saying. Don't feel like because it shifted. It did shift once, but you do realize that in 24 hours later, it had shifted back. So don't be complacent. And they really don't know, and we really don't know what's going to happen when it's in the Bahamas. How long it will stay, whether it will speed up, whether it will slow down, if and when it goes north, or if it continues to go west further. So take heed, be prepared, be where you want to be by Monday evening so that you can be ready for the storm. Can't emphasize that anymore. Don't be complacent.
Anybody want to add anything?
Yeah, I just want to clarify off of what was just said. Again, the storm is wobbling on a path. You don't know where it's going to land for sure, or if it will land. It doesn't have to land to damage us. The shift we just talked about, it was a 1 degree shift and it moved at 35 miles closer to the coast. That can make a big difference. So we have to be aware of that. And to reiterate, because we don't know that, we will have a mandatory evacuation starting tomorrow at 10 a.m. So that order is going to go out. And because we just cannot take that chance with it being so close and so dangerous.
Lesson learned from Hurricane Irma and Matthew that you're putting to use for this one, or you have to treat them all differently, especially because you don't know the path that this one's going to take?
The question is, lessons learned from past storms, and how are we using that going forward here?
Absolutely. Complacency, making sure that folks know that it can happen to them and it can happen here, and it has happened here. And we are facing a very dangerous storm. So just a matter of getting the word out, encouraging people to get off that barrier island. We saw a lot of folks who did not evacuate during either Matthew or Irma, and then of course we heard the stories afterwards that they wish they had. So when we put out these mandatory evacuation orders, we don't do so lightly. So again, it's asking the public for us to help them, for them to help us, and listen to the warnings, the watches, and to heed the evacuation orders for, again, the barrier island, low-lying mobile homes, RV parks. Get yourself out of harm's way and be safe through the event.
Any guesstimation on how many people have begun their evacuation process here in Volusia?
Well, we sheltered approximately 4,000 people during both Hurricanes Matthew and Irma, and that was at our hurricane shelters with the school district as well as the fairgrounds. We do have 15 shelters actually ready to go. Our fairgrounds, of course, is pet friendly, and then 14 additional shelters with our school district spread out throughout the county. That list will be posted They were all open tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. We do have our special needs shelters ready to go. Everything is already stocked, ready to go. So we've been planning for that now for several days, and of course, keep putting it off as the forecast changes.
Are you expecting a mass exodus tomorrow?
Well, the good news is it's summer. A lot of folks along the barrier island are up north. So, we hope we get a good exodus off the barrier island and all the areas we identified, and we're prepared to handle that number of folks who may come. So 5, 6, 7,000 people, if that was what comes, or even higher, we're prepared to handle it.
Yeah, if we can't hammer enough about the complacency. Think about the people in Mexico Beach who went to bed and woke up and didn't have a city or a town left. That's the kind of storm we're dealing with here. And if it takes a sudden move closer to us, so we are imploring people, take this seriously. This is not a drill. This is the real thing.
And one thing that is definitely occurring is the storm has grown in size and strength. Storm surge has really come back on the radar. And again, you asked about lessons from previous storms. We had significant surge issues in Irma, and you could see water on that scale again just because of the size and strength of the storm as it passes by. And I think people need to understand that. And both Matthew and Irma had significant changes late in their path. In the case of Matthew, there was a bobble in the Bahamas that helped us. And in that case, it did go a little farther out. However, we still had significant damage from Matthew. And then Irma, as we know, was going to go up the west coast and ended up going right up through the center of the state. So again, both storms had significant changes late in the game, and that's why we have to really be vigilant as we go forward watching the storm.
Any other questions?
Can you say just one more time about the mandatory, who has mandatory evacuations? It's from each side tomorrow at 10 a.m., right?
The question is, who has mandatory evacuations tomorrow?
Yes, the barrier islands tomorrow, as well as any low-lying, flood-prone area along the Halifax River, upstream along those streams. I would be evacuating, and anybody in a mobile home or a mobile home park.
Okay, if there are no more questions, we continue to follow the Emergency Management Facebook page. And again, the citizen information number is 866-345-0345. And comprehensive updates for Volusia County can also be found on volusia.org/pin. So thank you very much, and we will continue to push updates as they become available.
Thank you, John. Thank you, sir.
It's all good. Put it right in my phone.
Good seeing you, that's